My name is Philip Ashon. I am the father of two girls, two very lovely girls, Nisi and Elion. Nisi is 2 years old and Elion is a couple of months old. But yeah. Okay, so the first one was around 3 a.m. That's when I was waking up. I actually didn't know what was going on. So she had this weird look on her face and I was like, what's going on? And then she told me it's positive. And it was weird because I was still very sleepy around that time. So I wasn't really sure what exactly she was talking about. And I think it might have come out wrong because she looked at me like, what's wrong with you? But it took a couple of minutes for it to actually sink in that was the first time I was actually going to be a father. And it was different. When something hits you and you don't realize how huge it is, and you actually sit down probably later, 30 minutes later, and you think about it. And you think about how monumental the moment it is. And it was incredible. And I remember for Elion, I was in China and I had no idea that, anything like that happened. So I opened my suitcase because I just got into the hotel. I opened my suitcase. What's weird is the place where my wife put the note, I didn't know. So when we went to the first location, I didn't even know. We went to a different Gwangju and I opened that part of my bag and that's when I found the note. It was a letter, basically and the letter also had the pregnancy test thing in it. And seeing that, reading the notes, telling me about the emotional roller coaster that she went through, there's just no way you can describe it. It's magic. I don't know what word to use to describe it, but I think realizing at that moment that, first of all, you had brought a child into the world, a human being into the world. Secondly, you are going to have the tag of father. I don't know how to describe it. It's you need to really sit down and appreciate how monumental that moment is. You might think that it's just an announcement, I'm pregnant. But when you think about you're a father, you have brought a child into the world, basically the whole world is going to see you different now. You're responsible for another human being who will be chased by boys, who will go to school, who will become anything. Literally anything, can conquer the world, can find a cure for AIDS, can do anything. When you think about it on that level, it's a very humbling feeling. See, I think no matter what happens, no matter how many books you read, nothing still is comparable to going through the process. Look, you will read whatever you want to read, but your body will be different. Your reaction will be different. Waking up at 2 a.m. because she's turning some way and she can't sleep will be different. I don't think any two circumstances are the same. And I think that sometimes, for me, what really helped me was, at that time I thought, it was a problem, not reading enough and always being given. Allowing myself to experience it for myself, I think was the most important thing I ever did. Yes, you can read just to get a sense of what's happening, but I think you have to remove yourself from what you've read and take each day as it comes. Because it's really, 9 months might seem like a long time, but it's really, really short. And you don't see the time pass so quickly. But I think that one of the things that, especially with my second child, was remove yourself from everything you've read, everything you've heard about, and just appreciate each and every single day as it comes. Because the craving today will be different from the craving tomorrow. The vomiting today will be different from the vomiting tomorrow. The complaints today will be different from the complaints tomorrow. And immersing yourself in every single day and taking each and every day as it comes, I think that's the best thing you can ever do for yourself. That for me was one of the biggest lessons. Read what you have to read, but don't think that you can just copy and paste other people's experiences into yours. It's a complete waste of time. Enjoy it for yourself. And I think that's the best advice I can give anybody. Being there. Just be there. You might not be there all the time, but anything she needs. Sometimes you don't even need to wait for her to ask. Look out for things that she potentially will need and just do it. Sometimes just cleaning plates or driving her to work, in my case, or like laying the bed. Like simple, small things. Being there and doing those small things. It relieves it takes a certain pressure off her. And for me, that's what helped me. I didn't do it perfectly, that one my wife would tell you. But just being there and at least helping out, doing something to help out. It can be anything. My wife didn't really have those crazy cravings that I've heard a lot of my friends talk about. But, you know, she had her moments. It wasn't a lot, but she had her moments. I was there. I was standing there for both. I was standing there. I saw everything. It's scary. It's the scariest thing you can ever experience in your life. I still think about it. I mean, the second time was much easier because I remember the first time I had my camera in my hand. Big boy, I want to go and shoot pictures. I didn't take a single picture in the room because I was so scared. Like, you just think, like, what's happening? Is she going to be okay? Like, you are literally panicking because you've never experienced something like that before. And for the first one, it was very, very scary for me. I put myself together after. But the second one, like, I wanted to actually, like, go through all the emotions. I was in better control of myself. I took tons of pictures. We were messing around and laughing with the doctors and stuff like that. But for both of them, I was there. I wanted to be there when the child came out. I wanted to hear Nisi and Elion cry. I wanted to see everything and feel everything and experience everything, because I think that is the only way you get to appreciate, first of all, the woman who brought the children into the world, and then also get to appreciate what it takes to bring a life into the world, and I really wanted to be there for that. With Nisi, it was disbelief. I couldn't believe it. With Elion, that's my second daughter. With Elion, it was like anticipation and joy combined. Like, you're happy and like, it's like, wow, because the first one you were scared out of your wits, so you really didn't see the thing proper. But this one you could see everything. Like, I wanted to see every single thing. You could see moving the baby, you could see everything, feely. Charlie, women they suffer. I tell you, women they suffer, I tell you. But yeah, like, yeah.
Final question. What for you is
Go be. Charlie, you still live with it. Like, it's like you still live with the thought of it. You still live with. It's like it's not something that gives you nightmares or anything like that. But when you see your wife, and like sometimes I get home and she's asleep. Like, I look at her and I see Elion, I see my daughter playing, Nisi playing around. Charlie, women try. Women try. Wow. like, there is no emotion for it. You are caught between smiling and laughing and crying, and like you are caught between so many different emotions all at the same time. And you know, when they come out first, they have this thing be around them, whether it's some coating or something, those natural things. And they have to go and bath them. And like when they come out first and you hear them crying, and they go and they bath them and they weigh them, and then they bring them and you hold them in your hand. Charlie. Oh boy. I can't tell you how you're going to feel, but if you're a responsible parent, a responsible man for that matter, you are dedicated to taking care of your family. Like, there are few things that compare to how special that moment is. And if you don't take care, you cry. But yeah, don't cry like down at your door. But it's a good feeling. It's a very, very good feeling. Around everything changes. Everything changes. The time you sleep, the time you wake up, what you do for your wife, how many times you check up on your wife in a day. Because the thing is, like, I work like long hours, sometimes come home around 9. And when you come home, you know, you have to do your part. You understand? You have to do your part. You have to contribute. And your life just completely changes. Like, the things that you think about are all of a sudden different. The things that you consider buying are different. The priorities, your priorities are flipped over. You don't get as much sleep as you probably would want. Look, everything. Sometimes even the way you dress changes. Like, because, you know, it might not be very conscious to you, but subconsciously, you take on, your mind sort of forces you to take on a different role because of the expectations sometimes that society has of you. And it changes even the way you communicate to people, the way you interact with people. Sometimes, like, you're saying something and then, like, you hold yourself back because of the potential of the things that you're saying. And so it changes your life completely, really. And like I said, no matter what you read, no matter how much research you've done, your personal life is different. And trust me, for me, my life was different and it impacted me different. So all I'm saying is, it will change your life whether you like it or not. As to the degree of the change, that one there is your matter. But for me, it really flipped my tables around. I mean, for me, I usually handle the baby after they've slept, or when they are finished breastfeeding and they are close to sleep, then I just walk with the baby, like, up and down, you know, doing weird noises and doing weird faces till they eventually fall asleep. I mean, that's basically my role, really. Because, I mean, what else are you going to do? Half of the time you can't bath the baby because either, you know, your wife won't allow you, or your mother wants to do it, or your mother-in-law wants to do it, you know. So, I mean, your main role is to just do what you're asked to do. And a lot of the time it's just, you know, holding the baby while your wife goes to take a shower, or your wife goes to, you know, eat or something, you know, or putting the baby to sleep, you know. So, like, for me, I've come to understand, especially with my second child, that don't force yourself to do too much, because sometimes you might be getting in the way. Just do what you're asked to do, and always inquire about what else you can do to help. Don't force yourself to think that, Charlie, you are better than, or you can do much better than, you know, she is doing. But always seek to complement whatever she's doing, because at the end of the day, a lot of the time they know much more than we do. So, Charlie, just chill with it. But I mean, my main role so far has been basically just putting the child to sleep, walking the child, just so wifey can have some time with him. Oh, no. That one there is not difficult. That's the easiest thing in the world. Like, you're just walking. It's even exercise safe. But like, you're just walking, really, and just holding the child. Yeah, sometimes it's scary small because you feel you might drop the baby and those things. But it's not a big deal. Charlie, it's the least you can do. That was with my first daughter. Like, I think I was asleep and she was sleeping on my chest. And I think my wife kind of knew, because when I sleep, like, I'm all over the place. And my wife took Nisi off. And so at a point I realized I was sleeping, I'd flipped over, and it hits me. I like, where's my daughter? Because when I was asleep, like, she was lying on top of me. So, like, that was scary, genuinely. But I think I've adapted to it, and I've become a lot more careful. Thankfully, we haven't had any crazy incidents. There are a couple of times when, like, my daughter, like, Nisi fell and things like that. But I mean, most of the time there was enough cushioning around, so it wasn't too bad. But for me, that sleeping moment was a wake-up call for me to be more attentive about the way I conduct myself around the child. It's tough. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. It's tough if you don't have the walkers and things like that, or you don't have the right equipment with you. Even when you do have the right equipment with you, and like setting it up, especially if you're like alone, setting it up on your own. Sometimes you have a partner, and like it's not the way you would like. Let me put it this way: there's very little swag inside. Like, you're at a wedding and the baby is crying, and you have to carry the baby outside. You have to go and feed the baby. Like, it might not look all suave and sexy, but Charlie, that's what you got to do. It's not easy. Like, everywhere you're going, you have to carry the baby along. You have to carry all these bottles and things in some extra bag. You go to the place, the baby poops like 3 times or 4 times. You have to excuse yourself and go into the car and go and change the baby. The baby wants to eat. You have to literally, like, breastfeed. If you have to, like, watch your wife breastfeed, like, in the middle of anywhere, or you have to move her to the car and things. Like, it's not easy. You miss out on quite a number of things. There are a lot of engagements we've actually, like, refused to go or declined, an invitation, because when we think about potentially what we are going to have to put ourselves through, it's not the easiest thing. So, it's a sacrifice. You need to sacrifice something at some point. And I think sometimes the outings are sacrificed for us. Yeah, and I think the key thing about combining having a child and working is prioritization. Like, you have to really prioritize how many hours you spend in the office as against how many hours you spend at home. Sometimes, like, at weekends, you have to tell yourself, I need to be home all weekend and things like that. When you close, you need to close earlier to get home to spend time with the family. And, like, it all comes with time. You might not think that it's such a big deal, but eventually you get to see how important it is for you to spend time with your family, to spend time with your children, and if you are conscious enough about how important it is for you to spend time with your family, especially with your children, and in my case with my daughters, like, you will make the time, and it will affect work in one way or the other. But I think you have to be very transparent with the people that you work with about how much time you want to spend with your family, and you'll be surprised. A lot of them end up being very understanding of the situation you find yourself in. I don't know how to do it. I keep telling myself, I'm just going to take this a day at a time. Like today, classic example. Nisi was supposed to be doing some coloring work in her book. Like, in my mind, I just told myself, if this is the only thing I can teach her, then I'll do my very best to teach her this. So then hold her hand, like, show her how to color, show her what number 1 is, number 2, number 3, number 4, show her what a duck is, an elephant is. And the reason why I say you have to choose to do it every day is there will be times when you can't do it, because, things happen, life happens. But don't think that you'll be able to do it all in a day. or don't think that, once you've done some, it's okay. You have to constantly do it. And like I said, I don't know exactly what I'm doing. All I know is that I am going to be there for my daughter. I will teach her as much as I can, every opportunity that I can. And with everything that I've learned about life, with all my friends, all my lessons I've picked up over the years of my life, I think that it is worth something, or it counts for something. Of course, like, you read stuff online and things like that, but most of those stuff don't take into consideration what your current status in life is, don't know what Ghana feels like having a child under my peculiar circumstances. So then, yes, you pick lessons from everywhere, but a lot of it is about you and how you live your life and how much impact you want to have on your child. So the simple answer is, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just doing the best I can with each passing minute and each passing day. The most challenging thing for me about raising a child is getting over the fear that you feel. I think for me, and I'm still battling with that. Because in your mind, you want your child to be the best of the best. You want them to have the best education. You want them to have the best of clothes, best of food, best of everything in the world. And you're always in fear that maybe they're not getting the best instruction in school, even though you're not a teacher. They're not wearing the best of clothes. You're always afraid. Getting over that fear that you are not doing enough, I think for me is one of the most critical things that you have to get yourself used to. I think if you get over that, everything else kind of falls in place, because at the end of the day, you have only 24 hours. And within that 24 hours, you have to impact your daughter's life as much as you can. And for me, I think the fear of thinking that you're not doing enough for your child, or you're not providing enough for your child, is one of the most difficult things to get over. And because everything else will fall in place, Charlie. Like for me, and I'm just saying from my experience, look, you might think that you're not feeding a child enough, but you're not alone. You have a partner. You have to learn to work with your partner on some of these things. If you think that you can do it alone, you will feel put down and Charlie, forget it. You have to learn to allow the other person to also have an input in it. So it becomes two people trying to make something work. And for me, I think that's the biggest challenge. Getting over that fear that you are going to fail your child. Charlie, some people still live with it, but a day at a time, like I said. I think for me, the most rewarding thing is when I come home, 8:30, open the door, and Nisi rushes from either the hall or her room to come and hug me. When I'm in the office and I see a video call from my wife, I know it is my daughter trying to call me. When I call my wife, video call, and she's outside with my two daughters, and I see Missy trying to grab the phone, trying to talk to me, and I see Elion, who has started smiling these days. When Missy is going to sleep and she comes and she says, "Good night, Daddy," I don't know anything else that can compare to that. I don't know how much money you need to be able to have that feeling, but Charlie, just do your part. There's a satisfaction, there's a happiness that comes with that sort of thing. Charlie, you won't get it anywhere. I don't think it exists anywhere. There's a happiness that comes with that feeling that you can't get it anywhere in the world. No matter how much money you have, no matter what you do, nothing. Nobody can give you that sort of happiness. It doesn't exist anywhere apart from that special connection and bond that you have with your children. And no matter how much money I get, I don't think I'll ever know that level of happiness. I don't think so. Charlie. Good day office. Now go see voice video call. She go pick wifey phone.